see. Hi, Suzanne. Hope you're well. Hi, Donna. Hi, Pamela. All right, I got one here. I was trying to make sure. I couldn't tell if I was or wasn't live. Hi, Yvonne and Kelly and who else? Judy and Jackie and Adrian. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Hope you guys are doing well. Hi, Jeannie. Julie, thank you for joining. Let's see, these are all dry. Let me put these so they're out of the way. Oh, it's rainy. I'm sorry. We're going to have rain tomorrow. We're probably getting your rain. Thank you for joining, Suzanne. I appreciate it. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Ginger. Long time no see. Where have you been? Hi, Julie. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm going to look like I'm doing jump rope. I'm just going to plug in once we get started. Today we're going to be doing some fun cards with the Flight of Fancy stamp set. And I also got out my layering ovals and my circles because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And just for full disclosure, I did do a little pre-cutting for my little Flight of Fancy ladies. So I might do a little substituting kind of depending on what I want to do. I'm not really 100% sure yet. I have a good idea, but in case you didn't see these, hi Jill, you love rainy days. That's awesome. All right, I'm going to pull this up. I'm pretty sure it's in the back. Just in case you haven't seen this set, my my very good friend who introduced me to stamping let me borrow her stamp set. So this is the set we're going to be using today. And there's some really good ideas here. This is on page 59. And this is in the holiday catalog, just in case you didn't know. So holiday catalog, page 59. And some really cute stuff. And the reason it's really cute is because you could use these for lots of different things. You could also use one as a tooth fairy. I think would be a great one. We have Valentine's, we have Halloween, and we have kind of like, it could be Christmassy, but it really could be any season. One thing about this stamp set, it does not have any sentiment, so you can make this pretty much anything you wanted to whatsoever. So I don't really know how we would necessarily create a tooth, but like now that I'm thinking, before we get settled, I'm wondering if there's a punch I can grab that might make it into a tooth fairy. Hold on, let me take a peek over here. We could kind of have a crazy tooth if we went with the, I don't know how toothy this would be. If my friend Heather, who is a hygienist, is watching this, she probably would say not at all, but maybe we could make the little whale spout into kind of a tooth. I don't know. That's probably a stretch, but I'm sure somebody has found something tooth looking, but I think it could probably be, maybe if we trimmed a little bit of it off. I don't know, but I think you could still substitute any little something in there as a tooth fairy thing. But start with a heart punch. See, I knew if I said something, Ginger would know. So start with a heart punch. Jeez, all my heart punches are super old. Hold on, let me see what I can grab that's kind of tiny. I have, so I'm going to grab the two of these. This one would be super. This would be like the biggest tooth ever. But that's a good idea, Ginger. So maybe if you have a small heart punch, that might be a really good idea. This was in the bundle with, and it also has the scalloped punch as well. So we'll see. That might be a really good idea. I think mine is a little tiny bit too big, but maybe we can modify from there. So I do have my whale punch just in case. You never know. I picked 3 colors. And these might look a little crazy together, but they're not necessarily going together, but I thought these would be really great for either of those cards. I have Pumpkin Pie, Bermuda Bay, and Grapefruit Grove. No, Gorgeous Grape. Something with a grape in it. I could fussy cut a tooth. You are very nice. Maybe if there was a printed one, I could fussy cut it. So maybe I need to go to like Google and search a tiny little tooth, and then I could do one. That's a good idea, Ginger. I don't have those punches, but the mini fall punches would be a super good idea. Hold on, let me pull those up and I'll show. That way anybody can take a peek. And you might be able to make something out of that little autumn punch pack. Maybe could make a tooth there. Even maybe out of the oak leaf might be a good idea. So all good suggestions, which once again is one reason why I love being live, because then we can talk through our problems together and figure them out. But anyway, we're gonna make some stuff today with the Flight of Fancy stamps. I have three of the little, what are we calling them? Sprites, fairies, I don't know, whatever they are, but I have 3 of them cut. And then we're going to stamp them, and we'll see like how we want to do the different stuff together. You're on candid camera. Oh my gosh, Wendy, you're so cute. How old is that show? Thank you for bringing that up. That was a oldie and a goodie. All right, so I'm going to move these couple things over. I have all my comments here, so I'm going to flip you guys around, and I'm going to pop you into the main camera stand. So just look away for a moment if you get a little motion sick. Move my comments over. There they are. You can see all my little guys over here. Okay, so everything is settled. I like to wait until it's like definitely in place before I say that. Also, as a note, on Saturday we have soccer. Hold on, I'm gonna plug in the microphone. Let's see. Saturday we have soccer at 10. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to go live afterwards, because I think if I go live before, you guys are going to be really grumpy on a Saturday morning. So we'll do live afterwards. Let me try to make sure we're nice and straight. Now you do need a pretty good size block for these stamps because they're all pretty big. So I have E. So you can see she did mount one of these, and it's worth showing this again because we did this the other day. This has lots of fun pieces to it. You have the hearts, you have little snowflakes, kind of like celebrations and snowflakes. So I'm going to show this one more time, and Rhonda will probably be happy the fact that I have let's pull this off this way first. Then I'm mounting these for her, but just in case you didn't see this the other day. So what you do is you take off your sticker and you put it onto your block, and you pull off the release paper, and then you put your sticker down like that, or your stamp I should say down, and then you can line this up almost perfectly. And then you're just going to pull off, let's see, hopefully I didn't push that on there too hard. Pull this off, and I'm going to give this a little press just to take a little bit of the sticky off. But you can see, so not to shame Rhonda, but she did hers. You can see there's a lot of extra stuff here, and this one is mounted really expertly. So once again, someone did share the name of the person that did this, and like a terrible memory person that I am, I cannot remember her name again. So if anyone is kind enough and they want to tell me, I know it was someone from Australia. I'm just going to put my sticker down there again. And if you want to share her name, you are absolutely welcome to, because I definitely like to give credit where credit's due. And I still have no fingernails, but this probably will be a little bit easier to pull these off. So we're just going to line this up. So this is the Cupid. We're just going to take our time, because you can pretty much see the outline of this. I could see it better if I wasn't doing it from above the camera up here, but put that on, pull this off, just make sure you give it a little something to take a little bit of the stick off, and perfectly mount it every time. As a matter of fact, I think I need to do an updated video for my YouTube page for that, because it really is super helpful. But anyway, you want to make sure you have a large enough block that you don't have any pieces like hanging off and then it doesn't stamp well. So how about if we start with our little witch first, and we'll do this on a piece of Whisper White. And what I wanted to grab, one thing I did not grab, hold on, It's just right here. I just want to see. I think this is a little too big for a circle. Let's check the ovals and see if this, it's going to be pretty close for the largest oval, but I think it's still going to be big enough. We're only going to miss like a little bit of the tail maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink this up with Memento. Oh, you saw Kelly did one too, Kelly Atchison. Yeah, I believe whoever the person was that did it was an Australian, so I don't know who saw it first. And, you know, it probably doesn't really make a difference. It's just the fact that we're making it a little bit easier for ourselves than it was in the beginning. I'm going to see if this fits this way. I'm going to do it crossways so I can do two. So I'm going to stamp her. And it is super frustrating. I totally understand. And I did a video a while back of a different way to put them on, which actually was pretty helpful. So we're going to cut this one with that. So while we're at it, we might as well at least stamp one more. So we'll just stamp all of our little fairies and then we'll color them all in. I intend on coloring with the blend, so that's why I'm using the Memento. All right, so that's one. Put this one back. And let's do, I guess we'll say kind of like Christmas. This one should fit in a smaller place because this is definitely a smaller stamp. So same thing again. Okay. And I'm going to do this one. Oops, I just smudged that. Son of a gun. All right, well, we'll do one way and one the other. Hopefully I'm lining up correctly. Oh, that's a little bit light. It's okay. We're going to keep it anyway. We'll wipe this one off. So we have one, I can see where I've made my smudge line. So one on the front, one on the back. And we'll just cut them out two different ways. No big deal. Okay, and last but not least, hopefully I'll be able to fit in time to make one with Cupid. And for some reason, if I don't end up having enough time to finish 3 cards, I will post the third one to my blog. So just make sure you go over there after the fact and check it out, rachthestamper.com, and I'll do the Valentine's version. So my nieces are coming over to spend the night this evening because we don't have school tomorrow. Rainbow Stamper doesn't know that yet. He's at soccer right now, so he will be super thrilled, excited when he finds that out. So if I don't get this posted immediately, I will get it posted sometime early tomorrow morning. Oops. At the latest. Okay, so all of our stamps are cleaned. Again, the only thing I didn't bring, and I didn't even think about this ahead of time, which is my fault for not preparing. I didn't bring any sentiments. Again, this doesn't have any sentiments. It's all images and little, like these decorations go with this. Then you have the kind of snowflakes that go here, and then the hearts with the Valentines. So you could even maybe stamp we could even probably stamp a tooth out of this. Maybe. That is there you go. See, Ginger, look at that. When we work together, we find solutions we didn't even know we were looking for, right? So we could probably do that. So while I have this out, I'm going to just stamp one real quick. And I'm going to do this in a lighter color. That way, if we cut it out, it'll kind of look more tooth-like. So I'm just going to go with, I don't know what Sahara Sand. Let me take a peek. That's pretty tooth-like color because it's kind of like that. It's, I guess, as close to bone as you could get because I don't think granite would look very spot on. But we're going to make our tooth out of this. So, problem solved. There you go. All right, since I did this one first, I'm going to go ahead and color her in first. So I'm going to get out Pumpkin Pie. And is this Gorgeous Grape, both of these? Blackberry Bliss, that's not what I wanted. Let's see, maybe this is Gorgeous Grape. Oh, you know what? We don't even have Gorgeous Grape, do we? We only have Highland Heather. So I'm going to go with Highland Heather, and then I'll do light Blackberry Bliss to add a little bit purple to it. And then just because black is kind of dark, I think I might go with gray. Yeah. Smoky slate. Yeah, we'll do with that. And then we do need something yellow. So I'm going to go with mango for the moon. So we'll kind of work with this for this part first, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the moon first. So I'm going to start with my lighter color, and I'm going to use the bullet tip just because it's a pretty small image. So we'll just bring in our kind of light color, and then a little bit darker just for kind of accent. And then we can always go back and kind of reblend if we want. And this, because we are going to kind of be outside, you can go outside the lines a little bit if you want, okay? That's just kind of personal preference, just depending on what you want to do. I'm going to do the stars and the moons on her dress in pumpkin pie. And hopefully this is going to turn out just like I want. We'll see. Oh, I missed one. I just realized. Put a little bit over here. Okay. Go back with this just a little. These two are the ones I missed over here originally. Okay, and just do a little. So that was pumpkin pie, but then I'm going to go over these little things kind of on the outside with a little dark mango. Guess I probably should have brought something for this little mouse, but we could do the mouse in smoky slate as well. So we have our mouse. And I'm going to do the dress. I just saw another tiny piece of the moon, but that's okay. We'll just keep this as it is. Not being super specific in my coloring here, because I know I want to bring in a little bit of dark. And I think I'm going to make the broom and her hair green, just for like a little extra something. And this, now that I think about it, is one of the days where I'm glad I put my microphone on, because I am leaning down and I'm sure you guys wouldn't be able to hear me otherwise. So hopefully this is helping. And I am not filling in all. There is a little bit of white showing through on her dress here, just because I don't really want to make it super duper dark, just so it has kind of like a little darkness. So you can see there's some white splotches, and I'm okay with that. So I'm not really too concerned whatsoever. So I'm going to bring in just the ivory a little bit, and the little hands and the face, but I also want to add in a little bit of bronze because I don't want it to be too light. So I'm just going to bring a little bit of bronze, and then I'm going to come back in and kind of spread the ivory out over the bronze, and what it'll do is it kind of help make her just a shade darker. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I'm going to do that there. And ooh, what green is still? Let's do, this is just jade. I think I picked one of one and one of the other. Ooh. Dang. Sorry guys, I apologize. My blends were not back in order. So I have just jade, and I'm going to do that for the broom and the hair. Do it for this tassel up here too. And I'm going to bring in just a little bit more of the jade, just to kind of add a little bit of shading. Okay. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to make the broom dark. So broom, I have bronze. Okay. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to add a little purple. And I'm going to bring a little bit. This is the grape. I'm sorry, Highland Heather. We don't have grape. It's the Highland Heather. And then I did grab the light Blackberry Bliss, but I don't really think I need it because I think she's colored in pretty well. So remember, this does go through to the other side. So I'm going to color this one in as well. And I'm probably going to stick with some of the same colors. So I'm going to keep the mango and the jade. And I'm going to we'll do the face on this one first. So do a little face. You could always add, oh my gosh, you know what I'm listening to is myself talking. I was wondering what I was hearing, and here I'm hearing myself. This was the one that we were kind of saying maybe we can make into the Tooth Fairy. So I might do that. So I'm going to do green roofs. I could hear the echo of myself, and for some reason I think I thought it was the neighbors out front. I'm so blonde. It's really not even funny. So a little bit of dark, just jade. I went with the light for the beginning. Okay, and then we can always go back, kind of blend them together a little bit. And then I'm going to do houses in mango. Remember, you don't always have to blend these together necessarily. You can kind of have a little bit of a darker spot. So like I started light, I just added a little bit of shading on the side. I wouldn't say I necessarily blended it per se. So let's see, for the other one we have, this is going to be very Halloween-y. Why not? Let's just give this one a little bit of orange hair. She can kind of be like an orange slightly / redhead. So I have pumpkin pie. Okay, and then we might bring in the Bermuda for her dress. I'm going to grab, this is mint. I'm going to use light mint, which should be pretty light for the wings. Okay, so light mint just for the wing right there. And where is my Bermuda? I have to see how dark this is because Bermuda Bay can be a little bit dark. I might have to go Bermuda Bay and Pool Party. So I'm just going to bring a little bit of this over here on the dark side. And I know I could go really specific with these little triangles in here, but I don't want to make it too much work because sometimes if you see too much work like that, it makes you not want to do it. A little bit of pumpkin. I missed her hair on the side there. And we go one more little thing. Okay, so I'm pulling out Flirty Flamingo. If you might still have a little blushing bride, I'm just going to give her a little cheek blush there. Just kind of pick whichever one it is that you have. And I'm going to go with dark Pool Party. So I started with light Bermuda Bay here. And I know I kind of went over one of the hands and I really shouldn't have, but. And then I have dark Pool Party. So since I did cover her hand, and I know originally we said we were going to do this as a tooth, I'm not super worried about it. And I'm going to make her little feet or shoes, I'm going to make them dark. Dark Bermuda. You can always add a little bit more if you want. Kind of on the shading part here. And I think I missed one more little teeny piece of hair. Okay, and I'm going to just do the same thing with these little twinkly stars, just adding a little dark, pretty sure this is dark mango, nope, light mango. Just added just a teeny bit of light mango. Okay, so we also have, and I'm just going to fill this in with my ivory marker. I'm going to fill all three of these in, even though I know I did this in ink. Just in case, I don't really know which one I want to cut down, depending on which one is bigger. But I figure if I at least color it in, we could potentially cut one of these out as the tooth. So we'll see. Okay, so final one. So we're going with Tooth Fairy for this one, Halloween for this one, and then Valentine. So I'm going to color the Valentine version in. Again, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be able to finish this card or not. It just kind of depends. So I have light and dark Flirty Flamingo. So we'll go with our hearts. Gonna just fill those all in with light. Then I will go back with some dark. I tend to always make my dark spot on the left. You don't have to do that. I think it's just because I'm right-handed. I think I just go towards the left. And then I'm going to do Magenta Madness, Light Magenta Madness, just for these little swirls. Just to give like a little something. You could always blend these out with some Flirty Flamingo. That's going to kind of give it like a pop of something else. Okay. And I'm going to do just a teeny bit of the ivory for the hair. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the bronze. Could even add a teeny bit of pink if you wanted to make a redhead. And we'll go like this. Do the legs, belly, and face. And then you could do the same thing again just by adding in a little bit of shading. I tend to shade again. I'm just usually shade on the left side. So just a little bronze. And it kind of will change the overall coloring. I think I missed the feet a little bit, but that's okay. Okay. Now, this could be white. It could be gray, it could be whatever, but I'm actually going to just go in with Pool Party, so we'll kind of keep it like white, but it'll just accentuate the fact that it is white by having a little color edging there. Okay, doesn't need to be really any more than that, and I just realized I missed a whole other arm on the other side of this arrow over here. There we go. Looks pretty good. So you could always even go in and just add like a couple little extra dots of color. Just for the heck of it, okay? So I did use a lot of blends. We did, again, this one was Flirty Flamingo, Light Magenta Madness. I did do Pool Party for the vapory thing here. And then Ivory and Bronze. So that was what we did for Cupid, okay? And then for Tooth Fairy, we did Pumpkin Pie, we did Light Bermuda Bay, along with Dark Pool Party, we did Just Jade for the rooftops, and we did Mango Melody for the houses. All right, and then when we did the Witch, we did our Highland Heather along, I don't think I used the Light Razzleberry, so you won't even count that. I did Pumpkin Pie again. We did Jade. We did the Moon with Mango. We did the Mouse and the Dress with Smoky Slate. Okay, so just in case you have any questions, in case you missed it or whatever the case may be. And I think, even though I did a little bit of extra cutting, I think with all these little guys over here, I think I'm just going to cut these as is. So I'm going to do one at a time, obviously, because they're kind of on the same thing. So I'm just going to take a piece of purple tape. So here's where you kind of have to sacrifice if you're going to cut this out with an oval. So you can either keep more of your broom on, you can trim some of your broom off. I'm going to kind of split the middle and hopefully get just the edge of that broomstick there. So I'm going to do that for this one. And I think for Cupid, let's see. I almost want to do, I don't know, the ovals fit this so well. I think I might just stick with the ovals. The other thing you could do is you could also do rectangles. You could do stitched rectangles, which I do have those handy. And we might even be able to do one of these in a, this I think is too small. If you did the stitched shapes, you're going to kind of lose something. But I think that won't be bad. I'm just going to pick one. All right, so I'm going to cut both of these. Then I'm going to flip this one over, cut this out here, so I don't want to be too far down. And then we will go back and figure out what we're going to do for our teeth, okay? So we are in the cutting platform, again, I still have a big shot, so we're in the cutting platform for that. So I'm just using the magnetic platform. Then I have a pretty busted up cutting pad here, which still cuts perfectly fine. And then I'm going to put these two, I'll just put both of them on so I can cut at the same time. And then one cutting plate on top. Okay, so that's your standard sandwich for your big shot. All right, and then I'm going to go back and cut this other one just so you can see. So I think I'm definitely going to finish the tooth fairy with the tooth part afterwards. Let me flip this over. We have this one. This one might fit really nicely in the stitched one. Yep, so I'm using the stitched oval for the tooth fairy. And the other thing you can do too, remember, just because the picture stops here doesn't mean you necessarily have to stop. So you could absolutely color this just to fill in the rest of the bottom of the image. Just really depends on what you want to do with it. So you don't have to do it just because of the way it's done. You can absolutely make it your own. All right. And those are very well used purple tapes. I'm just recycling like usual. Okay, so now we just kind of have to figure out what we're going to do. So I have pumpkin pie. And I think I might even do pumpkin pie with a little layer of Gorgeous Grape. I'm going to do that just in case I goof this one up. I'm going to bring in extra. There's that. I have a little piece of Gorgeous Grape. And I have a piece. We're going to make this one. We're going to make one of these simple, and then the other one we will add 2 layers to. Okay? So, have our little tooth fairy piece here. We'll go with that. There's one. We'll figure out something for this. And then we have our witch. So remember, we have the little cobweb folder. If you want to add a little something to it, you could do that. Let me see what this is measuring. 5. So this is another one of our short ones. So I'm going to go ahead and recut a piece. So I'm going to just score this in half at 4 1/4 and then turn it sideways to 5 1/2. And then I'm going to take my Gorgeous Grape layer. We'll cut this to 4 by 5 1/4. Have that piece. And even if you have, and let me unhook myself so I don't shake anything here. I'm pretty sure I have some. I'm almost out of it. If you have like a little teeny piece of the Halloween paper, you could even put like an accent piece on that. So I might use this little thing. Even though it's a small piece. And this is 4. So I'm going to trim this down to 3 3/4. So we're going to put this together. Might look a little crazy. Maybe we should have done the purple. But you know what? We're going to see what it looks like. And you can always go less. So I'm going to fold this in half. Just crease this with my bone folder. We have our piece here. You could run this through with a folder if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp. And I think I'm going to do like this. So this here and here. And I'm going to stamp the little witch on the broom. And I'm going to do it in purple. So it's very tone on tone. So this is Gorgeous Grape is what I picked. So I'm just going to do Gorgeous Grape. is, I just had my scrap, here it is. I'm going to put my scrap paper. Okay. And you know, we may, I don't know, maybe we don't even need this piece because it might cover up in so much of it that we don't really need it. I think I'm gonna omit that after I cut it anyway. I'm gonna end up omitting it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop her up on dimensionals. I feel like you could use like a little something, but maybe just not so much of a piece. If we had like a piece that was longer. Let me look one more time because I know what I want to do. It's just not coming out with what I've chosen at this moment. Hold on. Do the stripes. Yeah, we'll do the stripes. Actually, let's see at this piece. Just a teeny bit too short. That's okay. So I'm going to cut. So that is a 4-inch piece. Perfect. That's 4. And I'm just going to do a 3/4 inch strip by 4. Let's make sure we're accurate. Okay. Move these back over. And all right, so here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to put this down. You could use any adhesive that you'd like. Oops. Make sure we're opening correctly. This is just 1/4 inch down. So our gorgeous grape layer is 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to put this. Oh my goodness gracious. Down. You could even rough this up a little bit. You could sponge the edge of this if you wanted to. And then for this one, I feel like I want just a teeny bit of delineation. So I'm actually going to just take my light smoky slate and just go around the edge. And then we're going to pop this one up with dimensionals. And then obviously I did not bring my sentiments over. So I'm going to add a sentiment to this after the fact. And then I will take a picture and share it with you guys. Here's one. Okay. All right. Just like so. So the cool part is because of the way this is centered, you could put your sentiment up here, you could put your sentiment at the bottom, and it just uses a little piece of the Halloween, the Magic in This Night DSP, which I know you guys all know that wasn't my favorite DSP, so quite honestly, I ordered one and then I was kind of done with it, but that's a cute card still. Definitely needs a sentiment, 100% for sure. So we have our little tooth fairy, and here are our teeth. So I'm just going to grab my snips and see what we can do with this. And then the other one is our Cupid. All right, so I'm going to keep that. I'll write something on it. All right, so I'm going to fussy cut. I don't know. This one might be the perfect size. I'm going to cut this teeny heart out. I'm going to just do my best. I've been doing a lot of cutting for school, so I have certainly built up some extra special cutting skills, but this is pretty tiny, so you don't have to use one quite this small. Okay, so I have a very tiny heart here, and you could always trim the bigger one. I just wonder if I want to see what it looks like. I think it almost might be a little too small, so let me go with the bigger one. Because you know what? If this is a kid's tooth, it's definitely going to be bigger than a fairy, right? So I'm going to go with the larger heart, which coincidentally is a little bit easier to fussy cut anyway. I know Stampin' Up! Quite a long time ago had a Tooth Fairy stamp. I kind of wish they would come back out with that, because right now, not yet, but I could use that coming up pretty soon. Alright, so here's our little heart. So I'm just going to do my best to just make a little notch here. My tooth might be a little pointy. They might think this is fangs. But this actually looks really good, Ginger. This is a pretty great idea. So it is really, really tiny. I'm going to put it on the back of this orange so maybe you can see it a little bit better. But basically, we have the top of our heart would be here. So I'm going to show you so you can see this one. So the top of our heart is here. And then I just kind of trimmed a little bit off. You could probably take a little bit off of the side if you wanted to. Just to kind of make it look a little bit more toothy. Just like that. It almost looks like hands. I think my tooth needs to be a little bit longer, but that's not bad for a first try on a tooth. So I'm just going to grab a teeny piece of dimensional edging here. And I'm going to lift this. I'm going to put it on this way because I think it'll be easier. So I just kind of cut it, and then I took the release paper off of the front. And then when I pick it up, hopefully it should go. All right. It's a little bit hanging off here, but that's just my cutting wasn't the best. Need to work on my tooth skills, but not too bad for the first, right? Looks pretty good considering. Donna, did you just find me? Where have you been? You're joining late. I'm guessing Facebook is not giving out notifications today because you're almost always one of the first people on here. Okay, so now I have my Tooth Fairy. And we could kind of do the same with this one. So we did our tone on tone. Now, if you're wanting to do kind of something similar, I'm going to show you what you could do, but it also makes it a little more understated. So give me one sec. Let me just wipe this one off. Oh, goodness. I think I accidentally sprayed both sides of it. Either that or it needs a good washing. All right, so there is my witch, and I'm going to bring my faux Tooth Fairy back out. So if you were looking to kind of do something similar, but maybe you wanted to tone it down a little bit, another thing you can do is you could do it with Versamark. So we'll do that for this one. Other thing you could do is you could only stamp the fairy, so you could omit the houses. You could just mask it and do that. Or if you had the Versamark pen, you could just do it with the Versamark pen. So I'm kind of going to pick a spot to be sort of the centered image, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to just ink it again. Do the same thing as before, just putting a paper underneath so I can stamp off. And then it'll kind of give you a lightness to it that you didn't really necessarily have on the other version, because we used the same color ink, just like that. And then you could always go back and fill this in with your exact image that goes with that, which will be this one. But since we're doing teeth, I'm just going to put some hearts on here just to fill in, just for the heck of it. All right, that looks pretty good. And even though this one is a much more simple card, let's add a little something. Now, since we don't really have anything that necessarily says tooth, you could do like congratulations. And yet another thing that I know a lot of people do is you could also type something up, or you could look for something really cute. You know, if you Google like lost teeth, and then you could copy the font and print it out onto Whisper White cardstock, which kind of makes it look like it is a custom print or an actually printed stamped image. So that's another good idea as well. But just to make this just a little bit more exciting, because it's kind of a very flat card, I'm going to add just a little bit of ribbon. And I'm trying to think what I want to do. I would like to add something that's not really super fancy, but kind of looks a little bit fancy. So let's just, for the heck of it, I'm going to look at the silver ribbon. And what we could do is we could kind of fold a piece here, and we could have like that little faux ribbon that goes like that. So I'm going to cut a length. Now I am being very generous because I don't really know how much I'm going to use yet. And what I'm going to do to make this a little bit simpler is I'm actually going to start by adding a piece of tear and tape. And let's just kind of eyeball where we think we want this. We'll go like right here. So I'm just going to put a little piece on. Just like so. Make sure you push it, that way when you pull your release paper off, it should make it hopefully a little bit simpler. Okay, and then what you're going to do is we're going to start with our piece here. So we're going to take the end of this and we're going to glue it down. We are going, or press it down, I should say. We're not gluing anything. And then I'm going to grab my really old paper piercer and I'm going to put a glue dot right here. And then I'm going to fold this over. Okay, so this might take a couple glue dots because I am just winging this as I go. So if you're like, what are you getting at? I don't really know just yet. So bear with me. And we're going to just fold the same thing over. So I put that glue dot to make that one stick. Do another one here. Kind of fold another little running piece here. Same thing again. Oops, I'm out of glue dots on that one. And fold it over here. So kind of is just adding like a little bit of fancy without really a whole lot of work. Because we have a 1-layer card. Oops. We have a 1-layer card, so there's not really a lot of place that we could add the ribbon to and be able to hide it. And I'm going to stop here because we are going to put our sentiment down, so we don't really need it to go like too far, and it doesn't really necessarily need to go all the way to the end. So I'm just going to press this just to make sure my glue dots are all in place. So we have this kind of little, I don't know, I'm sure there's a name for this, but I don't know what it is. So we're just kind of have our little ribbon, I don't know, kind of reminds me of that ribbon that you get at Christmas time, the candy that nobody ever eats. Maybe you eat it. I don't know. My grandparents always loved that stuff. Ribbon candy. It's a little falling on top of itself ribbon. And then we're going to just put, so we really didn't even need that last piece there. I'm going to move this just a little bit. I'm going to lift this up. And I'm just going to put it out just a little farther to see if it shows. And then I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this. Again, I am going to stick with white because I didn't use thick whisper white. I just used regular whisper white. That way they don't show through. Sometimes when you use the black dimensionals on the regular whisper white, it kind of looks like a dirty spot. So I try not to use the dark ones unless I'm using thick whisper white. Put this here. And I think just before I put this down, ooh, stuck the wrong side down. I'm going to do the orange just to make it stick out a little bit because it's a pretty bright contrasted color next to the Bermuda. So I'm just going to trace around the edge with my Stampin' Blend. I'm trying not to go too far in because sometimes I lean too far and I end up making it look yuckier than it is. There we go. Yeah, this one is a little farther over. That looks pretty good. Just like that. So we have our little, look, I'm going to look and see. Ribbon candy! All right, Pam says just ribbon candy. So even if you wanted to make this like a little bit more exciting, because it's very simple. This one has a little bit more to it, but quite honestly, it's still not all that much. You could always get your Wink of Stella, because you know they need a little shimmer on their wings. Okay, and you could even do that for this part back here. So you could add a little shimmer to the wing, just for the wing part. And so there's none on that one. This one has a little bit here. You could just make it just so their wings had a little bit of shimmer to it. You could add a little bit on a couple stars or in the hearts, just to add a little something to the background. You know, it is very, very, very hard for me to do simple cards. So this is a stretch, but I still think it looks really cute. And then we just need something like a sentiment along the bottom would really bring the whole thing together for this. Again, not a lot of effort. Yes, we did do some coloring. We did some die cutting. I believe I shared enough of the Stampin' Blends that you know what color. So if you're coming in late to this, after I finished coloring each one, I did tell you, again, I went back and showed you which blends we used to color them in. They definitely need sentiments. You could look up something cute and print it out on this, or you can even handwrite something. I know a lot of people have really nice penmanship. And then what I'll do is I'm going to finish up our Cupid card, and I will add that one to the blog post once I get it all finished up. But I thank you all so very much for joining me. Donna had a really great idea. She saw a really cool, like a technique that a German demonstrator shared. And I did watch the video. I thought it was really, really neat. So I might try that one for our Saturday live, which if I'm going to be live on Saturday, it's going to be on YouTube since I did Facebook here today. So make sure if you're not already subscribed or following me over there on YouTube that you do. I do appreciate that. Again, you could trim this down. This is supposed to look like a tooth, so we'll just hold it so you can see a little bit better. It probably could you, actually it looks pretty, it does look pretty tooth-like when I look at it from the Not Rachel standpoint, but it's really cute. It just has a little bit of shimmer to the card. You can see that there. It's really cute. And then the same with the witch. I didn't put any shimmer on her, but she could always use just a little bit too. Kind of maybe back here on this little trail. And the nice part is when you're using the Wink of Stella with these Stampin' Blends, which are alcohol markers, it's not going to make anything bleed because they're alcohol markers, so they dry. So you can see you have a little bit of shimmer on the tail. You can even do a little bit on the top of her hat, a little bit on her hair, but it won't make anything bleed. So if you go color to color, you don't have to worry about any ink bleeding whatsoever because it doesn't reactivate it like it would if you were doing a Stampin' Write marker. So these two just need sentiments. I will add them and then I will take some good pictures so I can share with you guys. Thank you so very much for joining me today. I hope you had a fun time. I really appreciate you stopping by. If you have any suggestions for cards, card ideas, stamp sets that you'd like to see used, techniques that you would love me to demonstrate, please send me an email. Leave me a comment. I do my very best to read all the comments on Facebook, but I get a lot of them, and I do truly appreciate that. But if there's something where you're saying, I have asked her 3 times to show me how to do XYZ, just shoot me an email, rachthestamper@gmail.com. I love getting suggestions and doing things that you guys want to see. So if that is something you would like to see, just send me an email and let me know. If you would like to get any of these supplies and more, you can shop my online store, which is open 24/7 at rachthestamper.stampinup.net. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you all again real soon.